Conservative new media viewers, Jeremy Lin fans around the world, LA Lakers fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss in the long video format the Lakers' 101-93 victory last night over the visiting Milwaukee Bucks at Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Woo! Yeah! I love it. Dragon Brood, that was a special one just for you. And your child, by the way, who I will tell JDV likes the little facial hand-to-the-face thing that JDV does. With the victory, the Lakers have won 3 games in a row. They're 16-41 on the season. The Bucks fall to 32-26, and they're even now in their road record at 15-15. For the victorious Lakers, Jordan Clarkson, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Jordan was very effective in this game, and you felt kind of bad for him because he didn't get to finish the game, even though he played well. And the reason why he didn't finish is because Jeremy Lin and Wayne Ellington were playing so well, and Byron Scott wanted to win this game against old rival Jason Kidd, that Jordan basically just couldn't get back on the floor. That's essentially what happened to him. Jordan Hill, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Wayne Ellington, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. All 14 of Wayne's points came in the fourth quarter, and we'll get more to that in a bit. Jeremy Lin, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Jeremy played 29 minutes, shot 4 of 10 from the field, including 1 of 2 from three-point range, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 0 steals, 0 block shots, 0 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, plus minus was a plus 18, which was far and away the best on the team. Robert Sacre, 12 points, 5 rebounds. Carlos Boozer, 10 points, 6 rebounds. What happened in this game? What happened in the game is that the Lakers pounded the Bucks in the fourth quarter on the strength of Jeremy Lin's amazing takeover of this game in that quarter, which we'll discuss further and which we discussed in the short video that was made last night, which you can check out, and it's about 17 minutes. So it's pretty long for a short video, but you might want to check that out because I'm not going to talk about everything that I talked about there, I don't think. The Bucks had pretty good control of this game through the second and third quarters. They really kind of took over, had what they wanted. They were playing very good defense, which they're one of the top defensive teams in the league. And Jeremy Lin changed everything in the fourth quarter, and we'll get to that. But it was, as I did say in the short video, this was probably my favorite game that Jeremy Lin has played since New York City and Linsanity, because of how he dominated the game. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit of time to come. And this continues a trend by Jeremy Lin of what I refer to as Linsanity Prime. And by that I mean it's a different type of Linsanity, and it's a more durable version of Linsanity. This is more sustainable. The numbers might not look as dazzling, but this is a repeatable, replicatable version of Linsanity. And it's just amazing to watch Jeremy figuring out the next step in his career evolution. This is a significant development for him, the way that he has played in the last 5 games. And we saw it coming. Look, again, I don't like to I'm not somebody that likes to pump myself up whatever. But the reason why people like these videos a lot, among other reasons, is because I do understand the game really well. I am an NBA expert, I'm a basketball expert. Not in the way that somebody like Coach Nick is a b-ball breakdown. I can't tell you the name of ice defense and all of those things and certain sets just because I don't know that. I have to learn that. But I understand the game. Like, I know what's happening. I just can't. I might not have a name for it, but I understand it when I see it. And it was clear to me, starting with the Portland game, that Jeremy, after the Denver game, which was one of Jeremy's, maybe it was one of his worst performances of the year. That's 6 games ago. The Portland game was 5 games ago. It was clear to me in the Portland game, Jeremy had decided to play differently. And I could see it. And even though he didn't put up real numbers in that game, I was happy. If you go back to that video, I was happy about that game because I could see what he was doing. And now we're seeing the dividends of it. You could see this coming. And it's awesome. It's just amazing. And the only thing now is for Jeremy, just keep playing like this. And to be able to continue to play like this, just go with the flow. Jeremy he's learning to relax a little bit more and play within the system and play within just the natural up and down of the game. Picking your spots as opposed to trying to force the action. And he's also learning, if you want to force the action, then force it in different ways as opposed to just thinking you've got to score or you've got to make the spectacular pass. You can do it in a different way, and that's what he did in this Bucks game. And it was, like I said, it was just magical to watch. And anytime you see a person who is talented in their field, whatever it is, and they're kind of going through the natural growing or progress, and then you can see them make the breakthrough. It's awesome. And we're seeing Jeremy Lin making the breakthrough here. This is a turning point in his career for the better. And Jeremy Lin fans have been waiting for this for a long time, and it's starting to happen. And it's, like I said, it's just phenomenal. Okay, let's go over what was happening before the game. This was mentioned by, I believe, Mark Medina on Twitter, and it was relayed to me by Joshua Timog. Josh, I hope I got your name right, on Twitter. And the quote was from, and I believe, again, this was from Mark Medina, Byron said he's thinking of starting Jeremy Lin at some point, but not sure if he would pair him with JC. JC, of course, being Jordan Clarkson. Look, it works. And as I've said, as I'm kind of hinting at so far in this video, if Jeremy plays the way that he's playing now, it doesn't matter if he plays point guard. It doesn't matter if he plays shooting guard. It doesn't matter who he's on the floor with. That's one of the great qualities of Linsanity. And the Linsanity mentality or effect. Jeremy can play with anyone and make anybody look good as long as he's allowed to do that and as long as he himself stays within that controlled style of playing. Now, would Jeremy Lin work well with Jordan Clarkson? Absolutely. They already have worked well together in this last 5-game stretch, with Jeremy presumably playing shooting guard. Now, there's some people out there who would say, well, it actually would work better if Jeremy's playing point guard and Jordan Clarkson's playing shooting guard, because Clarkson's more of a natural shooting guard. I think a lot of us agree with that Clarkson is kind of a natural shooting guard. But if the Lakers want to test out Jordan and they're evaluating for the future, that's fine. As we've talked about in Byron's offense, the shooting guard has a lot of kind of point guard responsibilities and opportunities. So it doesn't make a huge amount of difference, at least not to what I can see, just because of the way that the offense is run. So whatever works. I will say this, though. If the team wants to win, based on the way that Jeremy's playing, he's got to be on the court. It doesn't matter who you put him with. That's got to happen. Now, the Lakers might be going back to the tank soon, and we'll talk about that soon because Taiwan asked me on YouTube if I'd explain the tanking and how that all works out, and I'll be happy to do that in a little bit. So if they want to just kind of get Jordan some more playing time and kind of make sure they preserve the tank, well, then maybe Jeremy won't play as much. We'll see. But again, tonight in a game that they clearly wanted to win, or last night, Jeremy got to play, and he played the whole fourth quarter, the same way that he played a fair amount in the Boston game, which they also wanted to win. So I think that pretty much says everything you need to know. If you want to win, put in Jeremy Lin. No Lin, no win, as we all know as Jeremy Lin fans. Okay, let's go over some quarter-by-quarter stuff here. The Lakers appear to be wearing what is known as the Hollywood Knights jerseys. Those are those kind of dark blue or navy blue, whatever you want to call it, or almost like a blue-black jersey, which I think it's a pretty sweet look. I think those are good-looking jerseys. I believe they're sleeved as well. I think that's right. Yeah, I think so. So I get one of those. Those are pretty nice. Okay, Jeremy came into the game with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first quarter, and he came in for Wayne Ellington. So at this point in time, it was Jordan playing point guard and Jeremy playing shooting guard. And I made the note, said Jordan Clarkson doing well, and he was doing well. Now look, Jordan is kind of in that Russell Westbrook score first point guard mold. So if he's going to be a point guard, he's probably going to be more like that. But to be fair to Jordan, Jordan has an excellent handle. He can dribble the basketball, which is pretty impressive for his size and his inexperience. And he is a solid playmaker. When he wants to make passes, he can do it. He had a very nice, I can't remember who it was with, maybe it was with Jordan Hill, a simple drive, draw, and dish. Jordan Clarkson had beat his defender. He was driving to the rim, or maybe it was in transition, and there was one man back to guard him and Jordan Hill. And Jordan just drove to the basket. The guy approached him, and he just passed it off to Jordan Hill for an easy layup or dunk or whatever it was. So he's capable of that. We'll see. We'll just have to see how it works out and where the Lakers are going to end up putting him and such. Okay, with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, the Lakers were up 14-6, and at that point, Milwaukee took a timeout. So the Lakers, they started great. They had an excellent first quarter and an excellent fourth quarter. Okay, then Jeremy had his first foul, which I did not see. I don't know who he fouled. That was late in the first. Then he was fouled, and I made a note here late in the first. I said the Lakers are playing a little bit selfishly. They weren't moving the ball as well as they could have. And yes, some of that was Jordan Clarkson. And it didn't look that good. But at that point in time, they were hitting shots, so it didn't matter. Jeremy then had his first score of the game. He hit a catch-and-shoot three from the right corner, and that put the Lakers up 19-10. Then he had a tough defensive sequence where Chris Middleton beat him for a reverse layup, and honestly, it was just a good play. And at this point, Jeremy's playing shooting guard. Middleton has several inches on Jeremy, and he's pretty athletic, and he's long reach. So that's a tough matchup. But Jeremy did well. Just at this first rotation for him, he had to kind of get his defensive groove a little bit, and it wasn't there to start with. Then he had a blown assist where he passed the ball to Ed Davis. It was a nice pass. Ed was underneath the basket, but he just kind of fumbled the ball and it went out of bounds. Then Jeremy had another somewhat difficult sequence with Chris Middleton. Then he had his first assist, passed the ball to Jordan Clarkson for a nice three-point shot. I think Jordan's shooting motion doesn't look perfect, and also his release point where he shoots the ball from looks pretty low. So I could see a point where he might have to rework his jump shot. On the other hand, he's fairly tall, and he gets pretty good elevation on his jump shot, so it's not like he's going to be the easiest person to block his shot. Still, the release point does look low, and that could be a problem for him going forward. Then finally, Jeremy had his second score of the game. He had a little scoop finger roll. He drove to the left side of the basket and kind of came back over to his right and just rolled the ball in on a very nice play. So at the end of one quarter, it's 24-18 Lakers. Jeremy Lin had 5 points, 1 assist on 2 of 2 shooting. Now, we move into the second quarter, and we've seen this rotation from Byron before, which is Jeremy comes in late in the first, and he plays shooting guard with Jordan Clarkson. And then at the start of the next quarter, the second quarter, Jeremy switches to point guard, and he plays point guard while Wayne Ellington comes in for Jordan Clarkson, and Wayne Ellington plays shooting guard. So Jeremy was playing both positions tonight, particularly early on, and that's so we follow that pattern here. Then early in the second, he had a nice drive, draw, and dish play to Jordan Hill for a baseline dunk. Drive, draw, and dish, we've discussed this before. It's just a simple basketball play. It's what I discussed with Jordan Clarkson a few minutes ago. The premise is you dribble the ball, you get by your defender. So now you're advancing towards the rim, and either another man's defender comes to stop you, or you get a free layup. If the other man's defender comes to defend you, then his primary defensive responsibility is wide open. So whoever he left to come guard you, that man's open. So you drive to the basket, you draw the defender to you, draw that second defender or help defender, and then you dish, you pass the ball to the open man, and that man has a wide open shot. That's what happened on the play, and the shot was a dunk, and that's just perfect textbook basketball. And Jeremy executed it really well. Then he had his third score of the game, which would make him 3 for 3 at this point. He drove to his left, then he kind of changed to like a scoop right layup off the glass. So I think he was on the left side, and he drove to his left, and then it's like he came back around and put the ball off the backboard. I can't remember if it was on the left side or the right side, although I know he started driving to his left. I believe he was going from the right side of the court towards the middle of the paint, driving to his left, and then he came back and finished on the right side of the basket. But I don't recall, honestly. That made the score 28-20 for the Lakers. So they were still in control at this point. Jeremy then had a blown assist to a Jordan Hill jumper. Jordan missed the shot, and on that play, Milwaukee they double teamed Jeremy for a second on the pick and roll. So it was kind of a shade, not a true double team, but it was kind of one of those things where the big man comes out and stops the ball handler from easily getting to the rim. Like they kind of stop him for 3 seconds, then they go back to their man. And as I said, Milwaukee's a very good defensive team, although they didn't completely show that game last night. After that, Jeremy missed his first shot of the game. He took a three-pointer from about 10 degrees right at the top of the arc. He dribbled into the shot. Someone had set a screen for him. I don't remember who it was. So he was kind of behind that man, and he took the shot. He missed it. And I made a note that says Jeremy's decisive and aggressive. So this is extremely important to how he's playing right now. What Byron Scott has said the entire season, and as much as we poke fun at Byron Scott and put him down, he's correct about this. In his offense, and truly in any offense, you want your decision makers, the playmakers, the guys handling the ball, you do want them to be decisive. And that means whatever you're going to do it quick. If you're going to drive to the basket, do it. Don't dribble for 10 seconds and then drive. If you're going to drive right now. If you're going to shoot right now. If you're going to pass right now. Jeremy struggled with that. He has struggled with that during this season, and to be honest with you, he struggled with it at different points in his career. And this is part of letting go that Jeremy is developing now. If you don't have something, don't push it. Just pass the ball, wait till the next time around, and the ball will come back to you. Jeremy has the habit, because he succeeded in Mike D'Antoni's offense. That offense gives the point guard almost complete control. So if you want to dribble the ball for 15 seconds and dribble around the paint area 2 times, then you can do that. That's fine. Byron's offense is not like that. He doesn't want you to do that. That doesn't mean you never do it, but you don't do it much. It's much more pass, move, shoot, pass, drive, do it quick. And for Jeremy to be able to function under different circumstances in the NBA, in different systems and under different coaches, he needs to be able to play like this. This is why it's such an important development. When he had success earlier this year, he usually played Jeremy ball or D'Antoni ball, which is he's dominating the ball. And he might put up good points, whatever, but it's not the way the Byron system works. And so this is why you get boneheaded or whatever it is, even when Jeremy's putting up good numbers, because he's not doing it the way that the coach wants him to do it. This is what I've talked to you guys before about Jeremy being stubborn. Or if you don't want to call him stubborn, you just say he hasn't completely got comfortable with this different offensive concept that's not Jeremy ball. And now he's beginning to get comfortable without having to play Jeremy ball. That's why this is so critical. If he can play in this manner, he will be able to play in any system, for any coach, in any situation. That's why it's so important. Because even though the numbers look the same, or maybe they look a little bit less than when he's playing Jeremy ball, he can do it, and the coach is happy, and the teammates are happy, and we're not going to get all the negativity. And this is a transferable skill now. This is why it's Linsanity Prime, because it can happen in any circumstance. And it's great. Okay. Now, then I thought he got a steal against Ersan Ilyasova, but they did not count it as a steal. It was basically they were both fighting for a rebound. And Jeremy took the ball from Ilyasova, but what they did is they just said that Ilyasova didn't have possession of the ball yet. So instead of crediting as a steal, he just credited it as a rebound instead. Then he was fouled again with no shot, so it was just away from the basket, not shooting. Moving on in the middle of the second, he missed his second shot of the game. He tried to get a righty bank layup against Jared Bayless, and he missed it, but then the Lakers got the offensive rebound and got the follow-up basket. So Jeremy had a couple of plays like this tonight where he drove in and he missed, but then the Lakers got the easy offensive rebound and put it back in. That type of a play is sometimes known as a Derrick Rose assist, particularly when you're driving for layup. The concept being that you drive to the basket and the defense focuses on you, and so even if you miss, there are no defenders around to get the rebound. And so it's almost as good as an assist. Derrick Rose does that a lot, or has done it a lot. So that's why they would call it the Derrick Rose assist. Obviously, you don't actually get an assist on that play, but it's basically as good as an assist. I then made the note again, decisive Lin. So we're playing in this style. Quick decisions, playing with confidence, not thinking, not the Jeremy Lin that looks like a deer, a baby deer that just came out of the womb, that's just struggling to not lose the ball when he's dribbling by himself. This is confident, poised, focused, locked in. And again, the more he can play like this, the less we will see the beta Lin. And again, Jeremy's not beta. It's just when he thinks a lot, it comes out looking like that. It looks like he doesn't know how to play. Remember, in the past, I've described it as Jeremy looks like a YMCA player, meaning just like some regular guy off the street. But that's just when he's not comfortable. This level of comfort that he's showing now is lasting. This is what will make beta Lin go away forever. And that's great. So although the confidence issues and all that, that's all going to go away. He continues playing in this mode. Okay, Jeremy came out of the game for Jordan Clarkson with 6 minutes left about in the second quarter, and at that point the Lakers are up 34-33. And soon after he went out, Milwaukee regained the advantage, which many Lin fans pointed out on Twitter. They went on an 18-2 run, which put them up 42-36, though the run did start while Jeremy was still in the game. But as we head into halftime, Milwaukee was up just 2 points, so the Lakers kind of fought back at that point in time. At halftime, Jeremy, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. It was 3 of 5 shooting. Obviously, 0 turnovers and 1 personal foul. Moving into the third quarter, Jeremy was on the bench. He came in for Wayne Ellington. 5 minutes and 42 seconds left in the third quarter. So again, we're going back to that first quarter rotation, come in and play shooting guard with Jordan, which is what he was doing. He then had, in the late third quarter, he had a very nice defensive sequence against Chris Middleton where he forced Middleton into a real brick shot. He then had a blown assist where he passed the ball out to Wesley Johnson at the three-point line, and Wesley was caught between wanting to shoot and wanting to drive to the basket. And he decided to drive to the basket, but he traveled before he dribbled the basketball. We've seen Jeremy do that before, and as I've told you guys previously, it's an extremely common play. It happens in every single game, and sometimes it's called and sometimes it's not. But you could call it in pretty much every game that occurs. That play right there where the guy decides to move his feet before he dribbles the basketball. Then Jeremy had his third missed shot of the game. It was like a little layup floater that he missed. That made him 3 for 6. Now Milwaukee was starting to really kind of seize full command. They were up 70-61, or about 9 points with 2 minutes and 32 seconds left. I made the note that says Milwaukee getting whatever they want, meaning that the Lakers' defense wasn't slowing them down at all, and it didn't look good. It did not look good. I believe Thomas on Twitter said that the team is digging themselves into a hole, and Jeremy's going to have to get them out of it, which is basically exactly what ended up happening in the fourth quarter. Then Jeremy, and I explained this on Twitter, with maybe, 13 seconds left, Milwaukee was bringing the ball up. The shot clock was off. And the Lakers had a foul to give. What that means is, as a team, if you get 5 fouls in one quarter, then any foul you get, the opponent gets to shoot free throws. But until you get 5 fouls, then the opponent only gets free throws if you foul them in the act of shooting. So what you'll see is when teams do not yet have 5 fouls, and it's coming towards the end of a quarter, and the opponent is setting up on offense, then the team will foul them on purpose. And with the thing being, disrupt the offensive play. Make them run another play. Make them run the play again. So if you have 10 seconds or 5 seconds or 8 seconds, you will often use this foul to give, just to disrupt them. And that's what Jeremy did in that situation. Some people, why is he fouling them? Well, he's fouling them so that he's going to make them do the play over and do it over with less time left on the clock, so they might make a mistake that they might not have made if they had 10 more seconds. And that's why that play is done, and it's done in many games. Okay, then Jeremy had his 4th missed shot of the game, where it's basically one of these half-court heaves at the end of the quarter with the quarter clock running out. At the end of 3 quarters, Milwaukee 72, Lakers 65. So as I said, they were only down 7 points, but it didn't look good because the Lakers weren't playing good defense. Now, Jeremy had picked up his defense, but the team as a whole wasn't playing good defense. And like I said, I did not feel good about this. I didn't think they were going to win this game because Milwaukee is a solid team. They're going to make the playoffs in the East, barring some collapse. And I know how good Milwaukee's defense is. So if you get a 7-point lead against a good defensive team, is like a 15-point lead against a bad defensive team, or a deficit, I should say. So if you're down 7 points to a team that can play defense, that's a big hill to climb up. Now, we went into the fourth quarter, and this is where everything was going to change completely. Jeremy was playing point guard now with Wayne Ellington. So this is the normal rotation. First and third quarters, he plays shooting guard with Jordan Clarkson, and then second and fourth quarters, he begins the quarter, in this alignment, where he's playing the point guard, and Wayne Ellington is playing the shooting guard. Jordan Clarkson's on the bench at the moment. Now, there's been discussion of whether or not this recent surge by Jeremy was because he was playing shooting guard. And Ronnie's playing point guard, and Jeremy's playing shooting guard, and maybe that's why Jeremy's doing better. And as you would expect, this is kind of a doubter or detractor argument to try to minimize what Jeremy's doing and explain it away. And this is why I put on Twitter yesterday, hey, the Jeremy Lin takeover came in the Bucks game with him playing point guard. You see that, doubters? It doesn't matter what position he's playing. It just matters how he's playing. And now he's playing the way that he wants to play. Okay, we begin the fourth quarter. Jeremy he did force a turnover. Milwaukee was they were on offense, and I can't remember if the player was going to shoot or if he was going to pass or maybe get a rebound. Anyway, Jeremy got his hand on the ball, and then it disrupted what the player was trying to do. And then the player, and I don't remember who it was, then touched the ball and it went out of bounds. So that was definitely a direct result of Jeremy's defense on that play, or his hustle. Okay, then he was fouled, was Jeremy, driving to the basket. He got 2 shots. He made both of them. That made the score 76-69 Milwaukee. So the Lakers were still down 7 points. And at that point, Jeremy himself had 9 points. Then Jeremy scored again. He hit a jump shot fading away on the right side of the court off the dribble. Again, this was a good, controlled, decisive move. He didn't dribble for 12 seconds. He saw a spot, he went to it, and hit the shot right away. It was excellent control. And he got his 3rd foul, and this was a bogus-looking foul. This was the play where he tried to take a charge against Ersan Ilyasova. And look, he might not have been 100% set. Like when you take a charge, your feet are optimally supposed to be set, but they don't actually have to be set. And it clearly looked like Ilyasova charged in him. Jeremy wasn't happy about it. The Lakers bench wasn't happy about it, but this is where it was clear to me that Jeremy was attempting to take over the game. And as I mentioned earlier here, you can take over the game in a variety of ways. And the smarter, savvier, more experienced players understand it doesn't just have to be dominating the basketball or scoring the basketball. Now, Jeremy had 4 points already in the fourth quarter at this point in time, and he would end up with 7 points in the quarter, which is great. But now he decided he was going to affect the game in other ways. And this is one of the ways. Step up your defense. Look to make plays. Look to force turnovers. Look to take charges. Look to get steals, etc. And that's what he did. Again, to me, this demonstrates more maturity. Okay. I don't have to do everything on offense. I'm going to start doing it in other ways. And that's what he did. Even though he didn't get the call, he was changing the tenor and the tone of how the Lakers were playing. Coming into the quarter, they were on their heels. They were fading. And now they're getting up into Milwaukee in their face, pushing them. And this is all because of Jeremy Lin. All of this happened because of Jeremy Lin. And it was awesome to watch. Soon after that play, Jeremy had a nice assist to Ed Davis rolling down the lane. And I got to say, Ed made a terrific catch. Jeremy passed the ball to him, and it was a little bit behind Ed. Ed caught it in stride, rolling to the basket on the left side, and laid the ball in. Bang. 77-76 Milwaukee. So what was a 9-point deficit was now a 1-point deficit. Excuse me, no, that's not true. That was actually 77-73 at that point in time. And then after that, Wayne Ellington hit a three-point shot, and that made it 77-76. And Milwaukee took a timeout with 9 minutes and 15 seconds left. And I just made a note that says, Linsanity roll. Now, Tran Kens, I hope I'm saying your name right, TK, said on Twitter, and I agreed with him, that Jeremy was the one who got Wayne Ellington rolling in the fourth quarter, which I agree with that. I think that's true. Although it does appear from my notes here that Wayne hit that three-point shot, his first one, without an assist. But, which I didn't realize that. I thought that Jeremy had set him up for a three-pointer. But what had happened was Jeremy had shifted the momentum of the game. He had begun the comeback himself with his aggression and his defensive aggression. And so the crowd was into it, and the team was getting swept up in it. And that carried over to that shot by Wayne Ellington. In other words, it came during a Lakers run. That was begun by Jeremy Lin. So even if he didn't make the direct pass to Wayne Ellington for the three-pointer, he set the table for it to take place. And like I said, I mean, look, Wayne was huge in the fourth quarter. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't. But the comeback began with Jeremy Lin. He got the ball rolling, and that was the key. Okay, then we came back and they showed Mark Wahlberg on a camera. Mark Wahlberg, of course, the actor. Then Wayne Ellington missed a three-pointer. Then Jeremy had an airball jump shot on a fadeaway. It was good defense on him, and this was the one instance in the game where I thought Jeremy might have been trying to do a little bit too much. It was on the left-hand side of the court, maybe about 40 degrees left of the top of the arc. It was an isolation play with Jeremy, one-on-one, against, I think, Bayless. It wasn't a bad play. Jeremy didn't expect the defense to be as good as it was. Like, whoever it was guarding him was able to stay with him better than what he thought they were going to be able to do. And that affected the shot, obviously. And this is where I say, work within your skill set. Jeremy can do good one-on-one moves. We've seen it. He's still working on the perimeter one-on-one moves, but he's got a couple of them. But if you can't get it, if you don't have a good shot or whatever, don't take it. You don't have to be able to beat everybody one-on-one. Just wait until someone sets a screen for you or you get open for a pass. That's fine. So like I said, that was the only moment of the game where I thought he may have tried to do a little bit too much. But it's okay because Jeremy was hot. He had the momentum. He had begun the run. It was almost like a heat check. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Let's just give it a shot because I'm on a roll. And that's essentially what it was. That's basically what it was. And look, in the future, he'll be able to execute that move or a similar one-on-one perimeter move even better. And so I'm not mad at him at that move, but that's kind of on the boundary of what he can do and what he can't do at this point in time. So as much as you can, work within what you're comfortable doing right now. Okay? Then Jeremy, moving on to the middle of the fourth, I guess he almost turned the ball over. I don't remember the exact play. Then Jeremy got a defensive rebound. He was fouled as he was coming out after that rebound. No shots because he wasn't in the act of shooting. And Milwaukee was not in the penalty yet. Then he had his fourth assist to Wesley Johnson for a made three-pointer. Then Wayne Ellington hit a layup in transition. That gave the Lakers the lead, 83-81. Then Jeremy had a blown assist to Jordan Hill, who missed a short jump shot. Then Jeremy had his fifth assist to Wayne Ellington on a break. It's basically a 2-on-1 situation. Two Lakers running down the court against one Milwaukee defender. Wayne Ellington began the break. He was dribbling out on the left side. Jeremy was towards the middle. he passed the ball to Jeremy, and then Jeremy just passed the ball back to Wayne Ellington after the defender committed to Jeremy. Wayne Ellington, easy, essentially uncontested layup. And that, as I said, that put the Lakers up 85-83. Then Ersan Ilyasova was fouled. You could see Jeremy helping him up, which you don't see that a lot. A lot of times in games you will not see a player from one team help up a player from the other team. Usually it's like, no. When we're playing the game, it's like, that's the opponent. You don't help them up. I thought it was cool. It was classy of Jeremy. Like, look, you don't have to hate the opponent. You can still help the guy up, which is what he did, and I think that was fine. Okay, now 4 minutes and 57 seconds left. Score 85-83 for the Lakers. So the comeback was fully on. They're rolling here. Then Jeremy passed the ball to Wayne Ellington for a made three-point shot, and it was just a beautiful play. I mean, Jeremy was getting the guys wide open shots. The Wesley Johnson three, wide open. Wayne Ellington three, wide open. And so, like I said, Wayne did kind of get himself going after Jeremy started the run, but Jeremy was helping to keep him in rhythm and feeling good with these wide open shots. So those two were clearly the guys who saved the day in the fourth quarter. Then moving on late in the fourth, Jeremy almost stole the ball. Then Wayne Ellington hit another jumper. Said he's in rhythm now. That put the Lakers up 6. Then Jeremy had a pass to Ed Davis where it looked like Ed might be able to get a shot under the basket, but he was not able to. Then he made a pass that turned into a turnover. Jeremy then fouled Giannis A. in a layup in transition. He wanted to stop that. It was an easy layup. It was a smart play by Jeremy. And then put Wayne Ellington has 14 points in the fourth quarter, which is a career best for him. Then Jeremy had an assist for a foul. He passed the ball to Ed Davis. Ed went up for the shot, and he was fouled. So Jeremy doesn't get an assist on the play, but basically that's what the play was. And then Jeremy challenged Giannis on a layup attempt. He did not get the block shot, but Ed Davis did. It was kind of a double team block attempt by both Jeremy and Ed Davis, and Ed got the block, and Jeremy kind of helped him out on that. Then Jeremy had another blown assist, which for a Jordan Hill missed jumper. Then Jeremy tipped the ball. The Lakers had made a shot, or had taken a shot. They missed it, and Jeremy didn't get the offensive rebound, but he tipped it to somebody else on the team. Then Jeremy missed his final shot of the game. He went up for a layup. It was blocked at the rim, but then the ball came right to Jordan Hill for a layup. So it's, again, another one of this Derrick Rose assist type of thing where, okay, he missed a shot, but then it basically became a open layup for his teammate off of the miss. And so that's what happened. That made the score 94-91. Then Jeremy made a terrific defensive play. Jared Bayless was coming down the court, and Jeremy just stepped in front of him. He was trying to take a charge. Bayless basically ran right into Jeremy. He did not get a charge called against him, but he basically threw the ball away because I think he was concerned about getting the charge. He was trying to get rid of the ball. That ended up being a turnover, and that went into the turnover became a Wesley Johnson dunk that pretty much sealed the game. That made the score 98-91 with 1 minute left. And they took a timeout in Milwaukee. And after that, they came back on the Lakers broadcast, and Jeremy Lin was named the Subway sub of the game. Then Jeremy was fouled. He was just running down the shot clock, which was smart because the Lakers wanted to run the clock. And right at the end of the shot clock, with like 2 seconds left, he got Jared Bayless to foul him on a jump shot, which is just a terrific play by Jeremy. got 2 free throws, made them both. That made the score 100-93. And when the Lakers score 100 points at home, there's some promotion where they get the crowd gets free tacos. So the crowd was been chanting, "We want tacos" or something. And so Jeremy became the taco hero. As Lily T mentioned on Twitter, this is, I guess, the second time this year where Jeremy's the guy that put the taco, was the guy that got the Lakers to 100 points and got the fans tacos, basically. This being the second time. So that's pretty cool. Fans will love that. And that was it. Basically, I think Jeremy might have had 2 more free throws at the end of the game or something. But so that was it. Jeremy had a monster fourth quarter. In terms of NBA efficiency, he came into the fourth quarter with a 7, and he ended the fourth quarter with an 18. So his efficiency for the quarter was 11, which is massive. That's huge. If you do anything up 10 or above, that's a monster quarter. So he and Wayne Ellington got it done. They saved the day. And look, as much as I respect Wayne and everything, the Lakers would not have won this game without Jeremy Lin, because he changed the momentum by himself at the start of the fourth quarter. He took it upon himself, and he executed his will to affect the game in a controlled, diverse way. Yeah, he scored, but he also tried to take charges. He also got rebounds. He also forced turnovers. That's how you do it. This has been the thing for Jeremy. He wants to take over the game, but how do you do it within a system without playing Jeremy ball? And this is at least the third time in the last 5 games where he's figured out how to do that and done it extremely well. So that's it for the play-by-play. Let's look at what was happening after the game. I was able to see a little bit of post-game stuff or whatever. Byron Scott said after the game about Jeremy Lin, quote, "He's really started to get into a little bit of a groove," unquote. That's right. Remember, I mean, even just a game or two ago, whatever it was, James Worthy, I guess, was saying on the pregame show or whatever, well, Jeremy doesn't really deserve to start because he had his chance. Look, I like James Worthy, and at the start of the season, James Worthy was the biggest Jeremy Lin fan in the world. So I don't know what's happened. I haven't followed everything. Here's what it is. Worthy and a bunch of Lakers media and a bunch of Lakers fans have given up on Jeremy Lin. This is what we try to say to people all the time. And this, look, as Lin fans, you know how this goes because we face this in other cities. Jeremy is still a work in progress. But a lot of these teams, and obviously I'm particularly talking here about Houston and now the Lakers, they don't look at him like that. They think that this is all he's ever going to be, which is false. That's false. And obviously it's false here right now. Because at the beginning of the year, he was boneheaded and he's soft and all this other stuff. And now it's like, wait a second. He's starting to get into a little groove. Right. Now, is this going to change the dynamic? The Lakers going to want him back now? Well, we'll see. Look, I don't know what Jeremy's going to do. And I can't tell him what to do. If he decides he wants to stand with the Lakers, if he decides he wants to go back to Houston, then that's his choice and we'll respect it. Do I think that's going to happen? I doubt it. I really have a hard time seeing him going back to Houston, personally. Now, staying in L.A., look, he's. I don't think the Lakers have any real plans to make him a starting point guard. And Jeremy wants to start, or at least he wants to have the opportunity to start. Lakers are talking about Dragic and Rondo, and I'm not saying it's impossible that he could stay in LA if maybe the Lakers change their perception of him here in the last 25 games, but we'll see. Look, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. What I can say, though, is he's opening up their eyes now. They're beginning to realize what Houston did. There's another level to Jeremy Lin. And Houston didn't realize that until Linsanity happened. And then Jeremy came back. Oh, yeah, he's really not that good. That's what we knew. We knew he wasn't that good. You know, and Mikhail, he's accepted his spot in the NBA, blah, 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 blah. So this is what's happening for the Lakers now. Starting to realize, well, maybe we shouldn't have written him off quite so quickly. And we'll see. For Jeremy, just don't think about any of that. Just focus on trying to continue to play this way. Everything else will take care of itself. Right? Then Jeremy himself said after the game, quote, "Coach did a good job today putting Ryan Kelly in there to space the floor a little bit." So this goes back to the spacing thing. I love the way Jeremy's saying that Byron Scott did a good job. Basically, Jeremy's evaluating Coach Scott. I think Ryan came in like midway through the fourth, something like that for Wes, or I don't know, something like that. Does it help? Yeah, it does help, because it gives Jeremy more room to operate so he can get to the basket. And that is extremely important for Jeremy. That does help tremendously. Now, look, Jeremy was playing well with Wes in there too. So, or I don't know, maybe Ryan came in to play power forward. I don't remember, quite honestly. But I don't think Jeremy needed Ryan Kelly to be in the game to have performed as he did. But it probably did help. I then noted to myself that another thing Jeremy's learned how to do now, and this is important, and we've discussed this before. If you're going to make a mistake on offense, then make it by shooting rather than turning the ball over. As we said, first of all, when you get a turnover, nobody on your team gets a shot. So if you get a shot, that's better than not getting a shot for your team. Second of all, you can, even if you miss, you can get these Derrick Rose assists. You still might set up your teammates for easy offensive rebounds and scores. So as a percentage play, you will take a missed shot over a turnover almost every single time. And so now Jeremy's getting fewer turnovers and maybe a couple more missed shots, but that's a exchange that you want. That's an important thinking process that Jeremy needs to get into, and he's doing it. Don't try to make the spectacular play. If you're in a situation it's tough, you're not sure what to do, shoot. Rather than try to force a pass that's going to end up as a turnover. And he's doing that more. Which is really good to see. Look, that is about it. I mean, let's just summarize here quickly. Jeremy has altered his approach to the games in the last 5 contests, starting in the Portland game. Portland was the setup game. It was the transition game. Denver, which was game number 52, was a really tough game, and people were saying negative things about him, including me. And then the very next night was the Portland game, and Jeremy backed off on offense. He didn't put up big numbers at all, but he wasn't trying to do too much. That was That was the in-between game. Then we had the All-Star break. Okay? Jeremy did interviews during the break, and he was talking about he wanted to cut his turnovers down, or after the break, both. He wanted to cut his turnovers down. He wanted to be more efficient as a playmaker. He wanted to be aggressive. And he also said, when he first got back to the Lakers after the break, that he wanted to take the next step in his development. That's basically what he meant. So then, Brooklyn game, Jeremy played great. Boston game, Jeremy played great. Utah game, like I said, he didn't play badly in the game. He had no turnovers or one turnover or whatever it was. He just didn't shoot that well. But we'll take that. You're not going to shoot well every single night. But take shots rather than make turnovers. And that's basically what he did in the Utah game. And Utah is a tough place to play. As Ian pointed out on Twitter, it is a difficult place to play because of the altitude. Maybe that affected Jeremy. I'm not sure. So that's what we want Jeremy's quote-unquote bad games to look like. Look like the Utah game. Okay, your shooting percentage is low. You don't have a ton of super stats, but your turnovers are low. And you did all right. And that's what it is. That's what that game was. And then, of course, we got the Milwaukee game. So it's like Jeremy has he's shifted his performance to like a different paradigm now. It's a different high and low capability right now. And there might be a slightly lower ceiling now on how well he can play. Because, if you're taking tons of risk every single game, so say you get one game where every single risk that you take works out well for you, then you might get Linsanity, New York. Maybe you get 28 points, 13 assists, 5 turnovers. So when you take fewer risk, then your ceiling might not be as high. Maybe it can be a little bit lower. Couple fewer points, couple fewer assists, but also fewer turnovers and more under control. But what happens with this is, by playing in this new Linsanity Prime style, your floor also rises up. So your performance might have a smaller variability, but the low end of that curve is higher up than it is when you play in the old style of high risk. So what that means is that Jeremy becomes more consistent automatically, because the floor, the worst performance, is now raised up to something like Utah or Portland. That's the next step. That's where the consistency will come from. These performances by Jeremy, he can do this 9 in and 9 out. They're special performances because of his ability level. Not everybody has his ability level. But for him, this isn't particularly super special. He can do this. So he's not going to score 25 points every night like Boston with this style, but he doesn't have to. Score 16 points. Score 12 points with 8 assists and 2 turnovers. That's what we're seeing now. That's what we're seeing now. As I said before, is the analogy. Caterpillar to butterfly. Now he's in the cocoon. He's on the bridge from Linsanity to Linsanity Prime. So this is happening. there's still a long way to go. It's like his three-point shooting form. He started out last season incredibly hot, but then it levels out. So you got to stay with it. He's going to have to continue to play like this, game in and game out. And the more that he does it, the easier it will get. Now, what's the Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000-hour rule or whatever? You work at something 10,000 hours, then you finally get good at it. Is to keep with this. This is still very new, and he has to solidify it in his mental CPU, in his brain. This is how I'm going to play. This is the proper way for me to play. And as I said earlier, if he does that, if he can continue to do that, he will be good anywhere he plays. This is a portable skill set. It will work for any system and any coach, for any team, period. Like we said, not every team in the NBA wants to play Mike D'Antoni ball or Jeremy ball. But every team wants an efficient, under control, decisive playmaker. Every team needs that, including championship contenders. We've talked about it before. Cleveland could use a backup point guard like that. And I'm not saying Jeremy's a backup. What I am saying is that Jeremy, in this playing style, absolutely can be a critical piece to a championship contender. If he plays like this, and believe me, as I mentioned in the last video, or I don't know, the short video or the last long video, the GMs and the scouts, they will all see this. If he keeps playing like this, they will all take note of that. And that means when we get to this summer, we get to free agency, the big-time teams are going to call him his agent. So if you're Jeremy Lin, you got 25 more games this season, or 26 or whatever it is. Just keep doing this. If you play like this, nobody can take away anything from you. Doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. You play like this, and you eliminate the possibility of anyone being able to downgrade your future. Because when the time comes this summer, and teams like Cleveland or other teams looking for quality players, another team looking for a quality backup point guard happens to be in Los Angeles too. Again, I'm not saying Jeremy should be a backup. I'm talking about being on teams that can compete for a championship. Being in good situations, good coaches, you're playing for something, you're not playing to tank. He's going to have opportunities, he's going to have offers. Look, Jeremy was regarded as a high-level sixth man or whatever you want to call him in Houston. Now he's going to a different level. So he needs to just solidify this, and nobody will be able to take your opportunities away. And you're going to get to where you want to get to playing this way. That is it. Look, I want to see him play this same style the next 5 games. Let's get it in there. Mark it down. Put everyone on notice. This is for real. This is Linsanity Prime. This is Jeremy Lin 2.0. And then we're going to have the future's going to completely open up for him. Okay, that's it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Your comments below. I encourage you to come and join the Conservative Media Facebook group and come and follow us on Twitter. You'll see all the information for that in the video description below the video player. You also see where you can go and check out highlights of this game. And you can go and check out the artist of the artwork you're looking at right now. It's awesome Gary Chen, who is a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan club. Thank him and them for all they've done for us, including Gary's great artwork here. You can find out more about Gary and go check him out on Facebook. You'll find that information also in the video description. Once again, I am PFV, Paul F. Villarreal. Woo! Dragon Brute, excuse me. Thanks for watching Conservative Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Man, I'm just gasping for air here. I'm totally stuffed up. Sorry about that. Look, this was just a terrific performance by Jeremy. So I said, this is my favorite performance since New York. Better than the Boston game because of how he did it. Because of doing it on defense. Doing it with passing. Just totally just like a general moving pieces on a battle map. He just dominated in the fourth quarter and did it with precision. This was a masterpiece. And I think Jeremy's in a great frame of mind. I think he sees it now. I think he can see the difference now. And it's one thing for outside people to see it, and it's always easy to look at it from the outside, but I think Jeremy himself is starting to understand and make the breakthrough. And that's what matters. That's where the real progress is made. So I'm very hopeful. This has been a 5-game change. As I said before, let's just look at it for the next 5. Let's just take it, as Jeremy said in his Sohu interview, one day at a time. Just focus on the next game. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Let's just focus on the next opponent and putting out this same type of performance. This is the way Jeremy Lin can play. This is what he's about. This is the true Jeremy Lin. The guy that we saw in New York, the guy that we saw at Harvard, the guy that we saw flashes of in Houston and flashes of this season with the Lakers. This is what it is. That game will take place tomorrow, Sunday, March 1st, here in the United States at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time against the hot Oklahoma City Thunder and Russell Westbrook. I do not know if Kevin Durant's going to play in that game. He's been out with he had to have second surgery on his right foot. I think it's his right foot. Basically, Kevin Durant fractured his foot earlier this season or in the off season, one of those two. And he had to have a screw inserted in his foot. And recently the screw was irritating him. So they had to do a second surgery to, I think, adjust the screw. And I don't know if he'll be available for that game or not. If he's not available, that would certainly make things easier for the Lakers. Either way, the Thunder are a very good team. They're much better now than they were before they made a series of trades that they recently made. And Russell Westbrook is going crazy. So that's going to be a very difficult game. Very difficult. Oklahoma City will be favored. They should be favored. That's going to be a real test. So as I said, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And the game will be take place on ESPN television here in the United States. So you can more easily check it out if you don't have Time Warner Cable Sportsnet or NBA League Pass. That'll be fun. That means the game will take place super early on Monday, March 2nd in China, the Philippines, and Taiwan. Monday, March 2nd at 7:30 a.m. So kind of a breakfast special, I guess, over in Eastern Asia. Okay, look for me. I'll be looking for you guys on YouTube in the comments and on Twitter as well. Terrific outing. Look, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Jeremy has found the key. He has found the missing puzzle piece. He is truly starting to take the next step in his development. And it's been a long time coming. He's worked very hard. He's worked under difficult circumstances, doubting coaches, doubting fans, doubting GMs, doubting everybody. And now he's found a solution that will let him be able to control his own destiny, essentially. If he plays like this, he'll be in control of his own destiny, and nobody will be able to take it away from him. That's a functional way to say it. I mean, sure, things can happen over, but if he plays it with this style and this at this level, everybody will want him. Everybody. And so let's just try to keep playing this way against Oklahoma City, and we'll go from there. Okay, that is it. Have a great night, a great day, wherever you are around the world. Take care. We will talk to you again soon, and things are looking better and better here for Jeremy Lin Global Fam.